Are you getting tired of buying expensive toy after expensive toy for your child and they don't use it very much? Perhaps your child gains and loses interest very quickly and it's getting a little tight on the budget. Today I want to tell you about something that you have in your home that may not cost you a thing. So keep watching this video to learn more. Hi moms! I am Amy, pediatric occupational therapist and founder of Playapy, here to provide you with some playful solutions and powerful results. Now, you may be already familiar with this channel. If you're not, please subscribe and like this video or leave a comment. I'd love to hear more from you. But today, I want to talk to you specifically about something that you may already have in your home and you may not have thought to use them in this special way. Today, we're going to be talking about playing cards. And if you thought, Amy, I don't think I want to teach my kid blackjack right now. Well, that's not what we're going to be doing with that. Today, I'm going to tell you about the S's of playing cards and how you can use those different activities to develop other skills like cognitive skills, thinking skills, fine motor coordination, and even hand strengthening. Before we get started with discussing those S's, I want to tell you just a brief little bit about my experience with playing cards. When I was a child, I have a lot of memories of playing with cards. Now, it wasn't that I didn't have other toys. I was fortunate enough to have the memory of playing with lots of games and toys. I remember playing Life and Monopoly and Sorry and all sorts of things. I had a pogo ball and I had Rainbow Bright and I had a Light Bright and I had Barbie dolls and nameless toys. I particularly love my Casio keyboard. So I had lots of opportunities to play with things, but I also remember spending a lot of time playing cards, both with my siblings and by myself. And so I just want you to keep in mind that your child does not have to have a lot of different activities and toys in order to have memorable experiences. In a previous video, I discussed how we can use a metronome and playing cards to do an activity with a child. So I want you to go back and look at that video if you are not familiar with it, because it does show a fun way to flip cards. But I don't want to talk about flipping cards today. We're going to be talking about the S's. And the S, what we're going to start with is sorting. Okay, so if you're working with really small kids, maybe they're 3 years old or higher, you can start working with sorting the cards by colors, right? So we know playing cards come in red and black. So if you just want to divide the cards into two different piles in red and black, that is an easy way to start introducing cards to really young children. Another way that you can divide the cards is by their suit, right? So there's diamonds and hearts and clubs and spades. So you can have them go by looking for those symbols and seeing if they can divide the cards into those different options as well. There's also the option to divide by numbers, right? Finding all 4 sevens or all 4 kings. So that is another option that you can consider. So the next S is going to be for sequencing. So what you're going to do is have your child put these cards in number order. Or you may decide to do just all one suit and put them all together and develop those different piles of the letters. So sequencing is a nice way for you also to work on some cognitive skills with your child using playing cards. So those first 2 ideas are really great for kids who are younger. As they're getting a little bit older and they have a little bit more coordination in their hands, you can start doing things like learning new tricks that are really fun for kids to learn when using playing cards. And if you'd like a lot more information on the details of these next few ideas, you can do searching all over YouTube and find all kinds of videos that other people have on how to do several different activities with playing cards, people who are really experts at them. But I just want to go through and tell you about some ideas, see if they spark your interest, and how you can do them on a simpler level. So the next one we're going to do is the stacking of cards. So this requires a bit of patience and timing and coordination that your child is going to need to put together cards in a way so that they can be stacked together. So there's ways to do some simple vertical stacking, which I find to be a bit challenging, but I like the horizontal type. So what you do is you place cards. You're going to have to hold more than one at a time, and you're going to connect them in a 90-degree angle in the middle of the card, kind of like you're making T's, flat T's. So you're going to build around this concept, and if you get enough going on, you can even lay some flat cards on top and then build again on top of that. Our next S is for shuffling. There are so many different ways to shuffle cards, but it's a nice, cool way to introduce children into building up some hand strength. Now, I know when I was a child, I was really fascinated by other people who could shuffle cards. And so I practiced a lot, and it did really help to develop a lot of strength in my hands. So when you're working with a child, you might want to show them how to do a simple flush of cards in a shuffle so that they can see and hear how cool it can be. When you're doing this, you're going to have to probably take your cards and divide them in half, and then you're going to push them towards each other, maybe building a little bit of momentum together and slightly flushing them into each other. And then you're going to curve them out, make this bridge, and release it, and it's going to make a wonderful sound. Okay, so we've been sorting, we've been sequencing, we've been shuffling, we've been stacking, and we also want to show them how to spread. Spreading cards out into a rainbow shape is a really cool way to work on some coordination and patience, and then also showing them how you can easily flip them over can be a really cool way to show your child that there's another way to manipulate cards. Now, another thing that I've learned about is this idea of springing cards, okay? And what this is getting the cards to kind of flare out a bit. Now, I have to be super honest with you. I have not had a lot of practice with this activity, but it can be a very playful way to just joke around. You don't have to be an expert at it. But if you want to learn some really cool different ways to do it, then I would suggest looking up some expert videos on that. The idea that I want to share with you is just that you want to move those cards and get them to fly out of your hands. And it's just a fun way to remember how to be playful in this activity. What you can do is use this as a way to start out, right? If you just spring the cards out, it really creates like a burst of energy on how you're starting the activity. And then maybe as you're picking the cards up, you can work on sequencing them or sorting them out or doing other things. The idea with springing, you have to use a lot of hand strength to create a bit of a curve in your cards, and then you're going to release them, and you're going to create this big, like I said, explosion of cards. Last but not least, we have an S for setting up solitaire. I talked about this in the beginning briefly. When I was a kid, I played a lot of solitaire, and I wasn't lonely. I just really liked the calmness of it. It could be really an activity that allowed you to just kind of de-stress, and a lot of adults do that as well. One thing I want you to think about is that you don't have to necessarily be teaching your child how to play the game so that they're doing it by themselves. They may be about 8 years old by the time they really understand the full concept of the game. What I want you to think about is how you're setting it up. So the reason why I work on this activity with children is because it helps them to work on following directions. When you're setting up solitaire, you're setting up 7 rows, and there is a system to how they're set up so that the top card of each row has a face up. So the first row has 1 card, the second row has 2 cards, and so on, all the way to 7 cards. There are more rules to this game, and you can learn them again online if you would like to have more information. But for now, I just want you to think about the activity of setting it up. And then you can play along with them. They don't have to play by themselves. You can just teach them. And that way you can incorporate this activity into play with a much younger child, say 5 or 6 years old might start to understand this concept of building stacks and following those numbers. Did you find this video to be helpful? I hope that you did. I know that using playing cards has been very useful to me as a therapist and even when I was a kid. Please remember, if you like this channel, to subscribe and like this video and leave a comment below. It really helps me to know what kind of things you like and also lets YouTube know that it's important. Until the next video, I hope you have a playful day.